think about it. 80% of your projects are going to somebody else who understands that people buy with emotion and justify with logic, not the other way around. So really, is it the lead, or is it your skill set when it comes to communicating with people? Welcome to the Sales Made Simple podcast. This podcast is dedicated to helping overwhelmed outdoor living professionals, landscapers, and hardscapers just like you increase your closing rate to over 75% without doubling your workload so you can build a seven-figure business that doesn't need you. I'm your host, Joshua Gillow. Let's dig in. Stop blaming your leads for the reason why you're not closing projects. It's not your weak leads. It's not that your leads are broke. It's not that they're just shopping. They are buyers. They're just not buying from you. They bought the RV. They bought the truck. They bought the pool. They bought the Italy trip, just not your project. So I can understand how that'll get under your skin, and it's much easier to be the victim and to blame those weak leads than it is to get the responsibility under your belt that could be you. It could be your process. It could be your system. You call them tire kickers. You blame the lead source, the algorithm, the marketing team. You blame everybody. Convince yourself they just weren't serious. But they were, just not about you. It wasn't the lead. It was the conversation. It was the fact that most contractors are never taught how to ask powerful questions, how to uncover the why, how to get deeper into the understanding of what the client truly needs, wants, and desires. You started pitching things and sold ideas, but unfortunately didn't listen. You tried to perform instead of lead your customer. And your customer can feel that. And while you were calling them weak leads, they're sitting in a new hot tub installed by your competitor at a higher price, all because you wanted to be the victim and wanted the leads to be the problem. Let's face it, everyone out there, the leads are seldom the problem. It is a matter of skill to be able to ask the customer the right questions to make sure they're a good fit for you. And if they are or aren't a good fit, it needs to be discovered early. Most leads are good leads. What you need to develop is a skill set to be able to open them up, to ask them the questions, to be quiet, to be purposeful, to be the guide, not the performer, as you go into a sales conversation, to care, for customers to feel that and feel that you're there to win it with them. If they don't, they're going to keep moving. They're going to ghost you. They're going to keep moving on, and you're going to blame the leads because they think, oh man, if I just get a better algorithm, if I had better marketing company, I'd get better leads. But you know what? To be quite honest with you, people reach out for a reason, right? They reach out to you because they have a problem. They have pain, and they want that pain to disappear. And maybe not all of those leads are your ideal customers. And there can be some polishing of exactly what your messaging is to attract the right ones. At the end of the day, as guides, as people of service, we need to serve clients even if they're a little bit smaller. But at the same time, if we don't ask the questions, if we don't know how to, we call it peel the onion, get deeper and deeper into the conversation with the customer to get to that pain. If you don't know how to do that, you can blame the leads all day long. But unfortunately, it's not going to get you anywhere. It's not going to save your business. It's not going to help. Now, we offer in this program, we offer our core 10, call it core 10 sales truths. And those core 10 are 10 truths that have been truths in sales for thousands of years, and they will be for thousands more. These are things that are undeniable. They just are what they are, right? And one of those truths is you don't sell features, you sell outcomes. That's the target. We're not selling features. Decks, pool, patio, landscaping, seating, wall, fire pit. We're not selling those things. We are selling outcomes, emotional outcomes. And if you're not doing that right now, there's a high probability that your leads are going to suck because customers, at the end of the day, they want someone who understands what they truly need, want, and desire more than they do. Most customers are looking for that. If you come in just answering, being a yes man or woman, saying yes to everything that they ask for and give them a proposal, and 3 companies do that in a row, then they have no choice but to go with one of those 3. And if they're all look very similar and they can't discern the difference, well, they're going to pick the lowest price. But when you, number 4, are sitting on the side, talking to them, asking them great questions, taking them deeper, thinking about outcomes, emotional outcomes of what that new space is going to give them and their family, you then stand apart. You stand differently. They see you differently, a higher value. And in that higher value is where you can stake your claim to a higher premium as well. Remember, you're not just selling patios either, you're selling certainty. Clients come to us with tons of uncertainty, not just in the design or the price, but you know what? We're breaking in the ground, we're moving dirt, rocks, stumps, like all kinds of crazy stuff in the ground. There's tons of uncertainty of what's down there, how this is going to hold up, how long it's going to take, what kind of impact it's going to have on the family's day-to-day schedules. Oh, there's just a lot of uncertainty. He or she who can bring the most certainty to this engagement, to this relationship, to this project, has a higher chance of bringing this project home. Because a client that is left in a state of uncertainty, I don't know, maybe in the future, 2 weeks possibly, I can get something maybe back to you. All these minimizer words that make things seem small and unachievable is going to help hold the customer back from saying yes to you. So certainty language is important. Certainty in your offer and your process is very important. So again, is it a weak lead, or is it the fact that perhaps you don't have any of these things in your company? You don't have processes and systems. You don't sell with certainty. You're focused on selling features instead of outcomes. I don't know. That's something for you to ask yourself. Is this reflective of your company in a way that you've been only selling features, or have you been selling outcomes? Are you selling patios, or are you selling certainty? Are you understanding that people buy with emotion and then justify with logic? 80% emotion, 20% logic? Are you selling logically? I wonder why you can't get past that 20 to 30% close rate in our industry. Think about it. 80% of your projects are going to somebody else who understands that people buy with emotion and justify with logic, not the other way around. So really, is it the lead, or is it your skill set when it comes to communicating with people? I was never good at communicating with people. And this is a painful lesson for me to be even teaching, because this reminds me so much of when I first started almost 30 years ago. I had no clue about any of this stuff. I thought it was all logic. I thought I sold patios, and I thought that I sold features. I did exactly what I'm telling you not to do. And I did it for years and didn't know any different. I was blind until I started to study and started to understand why my closing rate at 20 to 30% was common, but completely changeable. But what needed to change wasn't just systems. It was also my victim mentality that I'm just thinking my leads suck and that's why I'm not closing. When I took responsibility for that and said, look, my leads don't suck. My ability to communicate does. I'm not asking great questions. I didn't even know I was supposed to. Now all of a sudden I do know, because I've read books, went to seminars, all that good stuff. And I started realizing that relationships are more important than anything. And when it comes down to it, sales is nothing more than just building a relationship with somebody with terms and understanding of what is supposed to happen and setting expectations. So once I realized all that stuff and I said, wait a minute here, we need to shift. Start selling outcomes instead of features. Start selling certainty instead of patios. Start understanding that people will justify with logic, but there must be an emotion wired to this thing. And we must get down to the pain. Once we understand what's really holding them back, what their backyard is really holding them back from, that's when things start to shift. I know it might sound crazy. Guys, I know it. You're thinking it's a backyard. How much pain? It's not like this is a doctor's office where you've got somebody with a severed leg and it needs to be fixed right now and it's a screaming pain. But I challenge you to think about outdoor living in a similar way. There's something about their space that is bringing them emotional pain. We need to get to that point. Once we get to that point of understanding of what that is by asking great questions, you'll learn a bunch of those coming up here in this program. Once you start digging in deeper into those questions, the next thing you know, man, your customers will open up. Man, do they open up. And then all of a sudden you have the opportunity, the environment to provide all of that value, all of those skills that you have, all of that information that you possess, all of those experiences that you've had. And that's why you're so good at what you do. But if you never get the opportunity because you're blaming the leads, or you just don't have the ability to communicate yet, that's what's holding you back. That's the amazing part about this, that if this guy from the cornfields of Pennsylvania can figure this out and to make this part of his mantra, so can you. I'm so excited and so encouraged for you to continue on this path of learning, because you know what? Each day, if we grow just 2 millimeters as we continue to grow, Man, does that change everything. Just a little bit more awareness every day, thinking, do I actually ask that question? And if I do, how does it received by my customers? Do I ask about budget too early in the process? Do I ever ask about it at all? Holy moly. Our goal here is for you to get obsessed with qualification. Do that qualification on the phone before you ever leave your office to make sure that you're pointing your time in the right direction. Lead with curiosity, not credentials. Being a curious detective is the game. The more curious you are, authentically curious. You can't be curious and be like, all right, so what do you want back there? With tonality of I don't give a shit, right? This is about having a truly deeply authentic curiosity for customers. And if that's not you, get somebody in a position that it is, that just comes natural to them, because that authenticity is not something you can make up. Also, you got to learn about how to stack value around their pain, like building blocks to be able to help them out of it. That's something that sets your company up for success. Something we're going to talk deeply about here as we move forward. Also, painting the emotional picture, thinking, all right, well, right now you're in this pain. The future, the outcome is amazing. Let's paint a path. Let's paint a picture of what that looks like and show them where they are and where they can go. And then also show up at the end of the day as the only logical choice because you blew it out of the water. Your customers don't even know what to think after they've met with you because you've had such great conversation and such good questions and they've been talking most of the time and they're really uncovering a lot of the things that they want to achieve in their space. And they only did that with you because you gave them the space to do it by knowing that this is an emotional play with a little bit of logic at the end. What if you could close 75% of your projects without chasing, convincing, or dropping your price? That's not a dream, that's the mission. Mission 75. Here at Yes Express Sales Academy, we are spearheading a bold shift to help outdoor living contractors sell with confidence, not desperation. Because let's be real, you've been told to just give them a good price and hope for the best. You've been trained to beg for work and give away your time and compete with contractors who don't even play at your level. That ends now. I wrote the Core 10 Sales Playbook because it's the system I desperately needed 20 years ago. It's built for real-world, design-build contractors, not guys in suits. Inside, I'll show you how to qualify leads in minutes, speak to emotion, not features, cut confusion and eliminate ghosting, lead the sales call with calm authority, and close premium jobs without flinching. That book drops in January 2026. Check out the show notes to get on the list to be the first in line to grab your copy of the Core 10 Sales Playbook before they're gone. This isn't about working harder, it's about selling smarter, and it starts now. Let's raise the standard together.